So welcome everyone to this channel named Geeks for Geek School, and I welcome all those people also who have joined this lecture through my channel named Gaurav Kumar Jain. So in this lecture we are going to talk about a selfie app. We will be learning how can we make use of the camera feature available to us on Thunkable platform for making a beautiful selfie app. So the students who haven't seen the lecture I have shooted yesterday, first of all, I would like to tell them how they can access the Thunkable platform. See, what you have to do, you need to first sign in into your Gmail ID. Okay, and after that, you guys can type out x.thunkable over here. So this is going to redirect you on this page where right on the top you will be able to see this Thunkable getting reflected. Just hit this hyperlink which will redirect you on one of the beautiful web pages of this Thunkable platform. Now because I'm already signed in into this platform, that is the reason it has redirected me to this particular page. Fine. So if you are new on this platform, so you need to first create your account on this platform. The way you create your account on Facebook or on any other social media platform. In the same way, using your email ID or using your Facebook ID, you can create your own login portal on this particular platform. Fine. Once you are there on this platform, you'll get to see this create new app button getting reflected like this over here. You just have to tap on this and it will redirect you to this beautiful window. Now whatever name you want to give to your project, you can write it down over here in this input box. So for now I am naming it as Selfie App. And once you're done with that, you just have to hit this create button. So it is going to take a little bit of time because the platform is quite heavy. So this is where that create button is going to redirect you. Fine. So this platform is bifurcated into three different parts. In this first part we have all the components getting reflected right in the bottom. So you can drag the components and drop it over here for adding it to your mobile simulator screen. This is a mobile simulator screen. Okay, so whatever view you are going to get over here, the same view you will get on your mobile also when you are done with developing the app. Secondly, there is this part in which you can see every property of the component you are going to select. Fine. So these are the three parts in which this window is divided. Okay, and let's now begin designing the application first. So the first thing that I would like to do is let's define a column first. Okay, I'm going to put it like this on the screen one. So as you can see right on the top in the visible components section, there are two types of components available to us on this Thunkable platform. The first type is the visible type of component and the second type of components are invisible components. Fine. So as you can see, this column 1 is getting reflected right now over here just below this screen 1. So this is the part where all the visible components gets reflected. Right now we have only one screen for this app and the name of this screen is screen 1. Okay, if you want to change the name of this screen, come first of all select the screen from here and all the properties related to this component you have selected, they will be visible to you over here in this property section. Now right on the top you can see this screen one getting reflected. Just hit this pencil button and change the name of the screen to whatever name you want to give to this screen. So I would like to change it to home, and that's what you're going to get as an output finally. So we have a column on this home screen. Now I would like to define couple of image components uh, on this column. So how can we do that? We just have to write down image over here. Automatically right on the top you will get to see this image component getting reflected. So we can drag it and drop it like this. Fine, so it is going to come like this. Now if you want to if you want it to cover the entire width of this window, you can change the width to 300 like this. And if you want to increase the height, you can come over here and let's change it to 300. I think this much is fine. Yes, perfectly fine. You want to define some border for this image component, that also you can do very easily. Come down and here in this border properties you can define some values. Let's have a border of 2 pixels. Okay, and what color would you like to have this border to be? So I would like it to be yellow in color. Fine, so it's a yellow border which is getting reflected right now over here for this image button. Okay, fine. Now if you want to suppose create a duplicate of this button, how can you do that? Just a second, let me come up. So there is a button which you can see right on the top over here in this properties section, just next to this pencil icon. Hit this duplicate button to create a copy of the component you have selected. So automatically a duplicate of this component is going to get created like this. Fine, now there are 2 different image buttons which are visible to us over here on this beautiful mobile simulator screen. Fine, you can now repeat the same process and create as many duplicate copies as you require for your app. So I would like to now select this image too. Let's hit this duplicate button. Okay, so we have now 3 duplicate copies. Let's hit this. Okay, so now we have 4 image buttons inside this column, and let's have one more image button. Fine, so I would like to select this image 4 first, and now when you hit this duplicate button, so that's how you can create a copy of the component you have selected. Fine, so I am done with this. Let's come on this column that we have defined on the screen, and so when you come down here, the scrollable feature is false. I would like it to I want to make it true, right? Because I want the scrolling feature to be there, for this column section, so that we can scroll down all the images. Let's make it true. Fine, so now as you can see, we are able to scroll down and scroll up these images. Fine. Okay, so we are done with defining the required image components in this column. Let's now rename all the image components. So I would like to rename this first one to let's rename it to image button 1. I think this is a good name. Let's make use of it for renaming the other image components also. So I'm going to paste it over here, the name which I just copied, and let's replace it with 2. So it is image button 2. Then let's select this image 3, and I would like to have this name image button 3 for this one. Okay, similarly I can repeat the same steps for changing the name of all the remaining image buttons. Fine, great. So that's what you can do very easily. Okay, now what? Let's define a row in the bottom. So here I go. I am going to put it right below the column. No, I was not able to add it successfully because you know the row is not getting reflected yet over here in this visible component section. Let's try adding this row component one more time. So I am dragging it and dropping it over here. Okay, so I've successfully added the row, but why is it not visible to us over here? Just because it has got added right on the top. So if you want to shift it in the bottom, what you can do, you can drag this. Just a second, we need to drag. Okay, so right now the row is on the top. I want the column should be on the top and row should be in the bottom. So that's how you can make the required adjustments. Fine, so now the row is getting reflected in the bottom. Now I would like to have a button in this row with which I can click the photographs. So let's define this button over here inside this row. Okay, so we have a beautiful button now over here. You want to get some background picture reflected in the back of this button, so you can do it very easily. Just come over here in this background picture and select whatever picture you want to get reflected in the background of this button. Let's do one thing. Let's go to Google and search for some relevant image. I hope till now everything is clear to every one of you. Even if you miss out something in between, just recheck the lecture. Okay, and I would like to search for a camera image. So these are couple of images you're going to come across, and let's make use of this one. So what you have to do, you need to right click on this image. First of all, let's open it up on a bigger, on a bigger window. Okay, now let's right click on this and come on the save image as option and save it with a unique name on the desktop. So I would like to save it with name, let's say camera. Okay, so here is the desktop, and let's save it with this name camera, RAA. Okay. Oh, fine. So I'm done with saving this image with a unique name on my desktop. Let's go on to this Thunkable platform and make use of this background picture property and upload the file we just on the beautiful desktop. We have saved the image some while back. Fine, and we need to come on this desktop, and here we are going to see the image we just downloaded from Google. So this is the image. Let's hit this open button and it is going to get uploaded very soon on the platform, and finally we'll get to see the image over here in the back of this button the way it is appearing right now. Fine, now what we can do, we can make the background color go transparent. So I don't want to see any kind of text getting reflected over here. I'm eliminating this text. Fine, and then I don't want to see any kind of background color. So let's make it completely transparent. Okay, now what else can we do? We need to increase the size of this button, right? So that the camera can be more visible to us. So for that, what we can do, we can come down and let's make use of this padding option. So 10, 10, 10, 10. No, let's, how about 30, 30, 30 and 30. Okay, and then what is the option with which we can, increase the size of the camera? That's what I am trying to find out. Background picture resize mode. Let's make use of this one. How about if I'll choose cover? So this is what we'll get as an output. And if I'll choose this stretch, fine, then repeat, okay, center, fine. So cover is going to give us like this, fill container, fine, fill container, okay. So now this is how the camera is looking like. The camera is looking like at present. Okay, so now we are going to change the dimensions of this row. Let's come down and make the required changes. Fit content, I think. No, not fit content. How about if I'll choose some size for this one, 20%. 20% is a bit small size, right? Let's make use of 30, and if I'll go with 50, yeah, that's fine. And if I'll make it 52, so that's how the camera is going to look like, but I don't want to see it like this, right? So we can go back on this button. Let's make the required changes in this button property. Fit content, fit content. So right now this is how the camera is looking like. We need to have some padding on the left and right, so that we can see the button more properly. Okay, so that's how the button is getting reflected right now. Let's go back on this row and select this fit content option. Where is that? This is the one. How about fills? No, absolute size is 30. Okay, I think this is also a good option that we guys can make use of. Absolute size 50. No, 50 is somewhat small. How about 300? No, 300 is extremely big. Let's make it 5050. Okay, let's go on this button, and I would like to change this one to fill container. No, it is not looking nice, right? Earlier it was looking good, but now it's totally... Let's go back on this row and change this to pick one, fit content and fill container. I think this will give us the correct output. Okay, and then we can go on this button one, and let's change this one to fit content. So that's how this camera button is looking like. Let's eliminate this from here. It's not looking good. I need to make some changes so as to make it look good. It's not covering the entire this area. What shall I do? Let's do one thing. I am eliminating this row, and let's eliminate this button also, and we are going to try it one more time, no problem. Okay, so let's add a row first. Again, I'm going to repeat the same step. So I'm going to add a row. So row is here, and I want to see this row I want to see this column over this row. Fine, so that's how we can shift this row in the bottom. And let's now make use of this button property. I am going to put this button over here, and in the background of this button I would like to see this camera picture. Okay, and then let's make it completely transparent. Fine, and then we don't want to see any kind of string getting reflected. Okay, so fit content right now, this is which is getting reflected over here. You want to have some border, so you can just define a 3 pixels border. I don't want to have any border radius for this. Fine, then style should be solid. So this is how the button is now going to look like. Okay, and then how about if I'll change it to 40 like this. Okay, now I think it is looking great, right? And I don't want to have any kind of border over here, so eliminating the border. Now we can come on this row and let's change this one to fit content. Okay, so that's what you will get. Now this is not looking fine, right? I want to reduce the size of this one. 30. No, this is not going to. Okay, relative size 40% is. Is there any padding inside it? No, padding is not there, no? I don't want to see any kind of padding. Let's make it 0 only. I don't want to define any kind of padding for this. And if I will, let's eliminate this row. Let's check out what is going to happen if we'll add a button directly over here in the bottom, because that row is not giving us the correct output, right? I want to see the button getting reflected properly in the bottom. Okay, let's put this column above this button. Fine, so now the button is over here in the bottom. Okay, I think this time we'll be able to get the correct output. I don't want to see anything getting reflected inside this button. And then background color should be transparent. Fine, let's change the background picture to camera.jpg. Okay, and then relative, it should be 40, and this one should be 40. So that's what we are getting right now as an output. Okay. I think this much, this is perfect. If I'll choose this absolute size, it is giving us a good output. Just give me a short moment, trying to change it to 200. Okay. Fine. And then this one also, if I'll make it, no, in this way, I think we will not get the correct output. Why? Just because, okay, how about this? I think this one is, now this one is looking nice. Okay, so you can go for this absolute size option, right? 300 for this and 300 for this. Now I think the app is looking nice. Fine. Okay, so we are done with designing this first screen that we require for our app. So we have 5 image components on a in a column, and then we have a button over here on which this camera's image is getting reflected, right? Okay, now we need to have a label box in case if we hit the camera and there is an error. So we need to get that error message reflected on this app. And how can we do that? We can make use of a label box. Initially it will not be visible to the user, definitely. What is happening? I'm not able to add this label box. Just a second. I think it's because of this camera I'm not able to add this label box. Hold on for a moment. Let me do one thing. Let me eliminate this from here. Okay, and I'm going to put it inside the row only. It's not giving us proper output. Row, and then we can have a button like this. I know I'm repeating the same steps again and again, really sorry for this. Definitely it won't happen again. This is the last time I'm doing it. Kindly bear with me. Okay, so we have made the text content transparent. Now we need to define a background picture. So this is the one I would like to see getting reflected over here. Okay, I don't want to see any kind of text. Fine, then font size is this. Then if you want to have some padding, so we can just have a padding like this, 20, 20, 20 and 20. Okay, and then we can come over here in this and select this row and make it fit to the content. How? Just by going up and changing it to fit contents. So now that's how your camera is going to get reflected right at the bottom. Let's now add a label. So if in case the camera is not able to take the picture, I would like a text to get reflected in the bottom over here, but initially it should not be visible to the user when he will access this first screen. Fine, so first of all I would like to rename this label box to let's rename it to error label. Okay, and I would like to rename this button also, so I'm renaming it to snap, because with this we are going to take the snapshots. Okay, sorry, we are going to take the snaps. Okay, so we have this label box. Now how can you make it initially go invisible? So you can come down over here and let's change this one to false. So automatically that label box we just added will go disappear. So that's how you can make a particular component disappear or invisible on a screen. Okay, now we are done with defining all the required components for this first screen. Let's now define one more screen. So how can you create a new screen? You just have to hit this plus button and it will create for you a new screen. So this is a new screen which has got created. The first thing I would like to do is let's change the name of this screen to Zoom. Fine, and we can have a button on this image. Okay, and then let's eliminate this text. Also, I don't want to see any kind of color over here. Fine, so we have a button with name, let's say go back. Okay, I will tell you afterwards why I have defined this button and why why I have created this zoom screen. Okay, let's first make the required changes in the properties section. So I would like to fill the container like this. Okay, so it is now covering this entire screen. Okay, so now we can, if I'll make it relative about this option 50, and this one also if I'll change it to 50. Let's see what kind of container we are going to get. Okay, and then I don't want to have any kind of border radius for this. Okay, so now it is rectangular in shape. If you want this to cover the entire width, you can define 100% over here. Instead of 50, just change it to 100. Fine, so now it is covering the entire width, and this is the height of the button. Right, let's go back on this home, and the two invisible components we require for this app is, the first one is the media database in which the photographs are going to get saved. So you just have to drag it and drop it over here like this. Just a second, let me check something over here. Yes, everything is fine. Okay, so it hasn't got successfully added. Let's try it one more time. So we need to just drag it and drop it over here like this. So this media database has got successfully added. Besides this, I would like to add this camera component, which is going to help us in taking the pics. No, it hasn't got successfully added. Let's try one more time. Okay, so this camera one is added, has been added successfully. Now let's define the code with which we can, get the required output. So we need to come on this blocks section, and here you can find all the components right in the bottom which you have defined for this home screen. Fine, so let's start with defining a variable. So you can make use of this initialize app thing, because I want to create a cloud variable. So we just have to hit this, and these are the three options you're going to come across. Let's choose this cloud. Okay, and what is the variable name you want to give to your variable? So let's have this name picture list. Okay, for this variable. Now when this home screen starts, so we need to come down and select this home screen. Automatically these are the blocks which are going to which you are going to see, and then you can choose this home starts option, and then inside this I would like to put this if else loop, with which I would like to put a check on a thing. Just a second, let me choose this if else loop. So this if this cloud variable, you can now come on this variable section, and here you can find this cloud variable picture list. So if this cloud variable is equal to null, so for checking this condition we can come on this logic section and make use of this first block, place it over here, and then we can place this cloud variable picture list over here. So if it is equal to null, where can we find null? Again we can come on this logic section and let's select this null and place it over here. If it is equal to null, I would like to set this cloud variable picture list. So this is the block we can make use of for setting the value of this cloud variable picture list. So to what you want to set this cloud variable picture list, let's come on this list option. So there are 5 image buttons we have defined, right? So I would like to create, so there are 3 available to us over here. Okay, let's eliminate all these 3 numbers and you can hit this setting sign and add 2 more items, because you know we have to define the code for all the 5 image buttons we have there on this home screen. This image 1, then image button 2, then image button 3, 4 and 5. And let's go on this text part and select this empty block. So initially everything is going to be empty. So if the list is empty, sorry, if it is equal to null, I would like to set this cloud variable named picture list to null. Fine, for all the 5 components. Else what should happen? Now for this else part, the first thing that we need to do is we need to define a function. Okay, so how can you create a function of your own choice? So you can go on this functions part and then you can select, you guys can select this first block. Okay, and let's change it to, let's make use of this function display pics. Okay, now the function which you have written over here, the name which you have written over here, you can see it getting reflected over here too. Fine, now you have to define the code for this function. So I would like to set the background picture for all these image buttons inside this function. Okay, how can we do that? We need to come on this image button 1 and here you can find this set image buttons picture 2. Let's select it and drop it over here. Fine, and then you know they are getting saved in a list kind of thing. So what you can do, you can come on this list option and come down over here, you'll find this in list option. Right, let's select this and drop it over here. So in list, just a second, let me place it right at the bottom. Yeah, now it is fine. So in list, and then we don't want to have this thing, neither I want to have this, I don't want to have this whole thing. So let's eliminate this from here. Now inside this we are going to place this variable named cloud variable picture list that we just defined in the beginning. Okay, and it is going to get the value from the first image button. For this first image button we need to keep 1 over here. Similarly for the image button 2 we can change it to 2. Then for this image button 3 we can change it to 3. Then for image button 4 we can change this number to 4. And then finally for this last button, image button 5, we can change this to 5. Fine, so we are done with creating a function with the required code. Let's now put this function inside this when part for this else. Okay, so if this is true, this condition is true, this is going to happen, else it is going to call this function named display pics. Okay, and now we have to define the code for the button that we have on this screen present right in the bottom, which is going to help us in taking the pictures. So let's do that quickly. We need to first select this camera button. Sorry, I think this is not the one. What is the name of that camera button? Let me check it one more time. We need to come here. Okay, snap is the name of the camera button. This is the one I am talking about, and let's put it over here. So when the button will be clicked, what should happen? That's what I need to define inside this block. So I would like to set the snaps background picture. So snaps back, no, I don't want to say I don't want to change the picture, sorry. Instead of that, let's come on this camera one. So this is going to, you remember we added this invisible component over here. There are two invisible components which we added, right? So this camera one is going to help us in accessing the camera of the device on which we are working. So I'm going to place it inside this block, and then just a second. So we have, let's do one thing, let's bring it down. This will be better option because I would like to show you the whole code. Once I'm done with designing and coding this whole app, I will show you the whole code that I've defined. Okay, so this camera one is going to take the photograph, and these are the three things which can happen. So photo is going to come inside this photo named variable, or did user cancel? Did the user cancelled taking the photograph? So that response is going to come inside this, and if it is an error which the camera which the user is going to come across while taking the photograph, so that error is going to get saved in this error named thing. Fine. Okay, so once the camera is done with taking the photograph, I would like to save it in the database first. So we guys can make use of this call media, and let's place it inside this then do part. Okay, so I would like to save the pic. The pic is going to get stored in this photo named variable. We can copy it and then we can place it over here for this media. If it is an error, definitely it is going to come over here. Fine, and media URL is going to come over here. So it is going to generate for us the URL for this photograph. Okay, with outputs. See, it's written over here with outputs. Fine. So now I need to come on this control section, and let's make use of this if else loop. Sorry, not if loop. I want to make use of this if else loop, and let's place it over here. So the first thing that I need to check is that if it is an error. So I would like, you remember I placed a label box right in the bottom over here in this home screen. Right in the bottom we have a label box which is not currently visible to us. Why? Because we have set the property of the label box to false. That's the reason it is not visible to us. The visible property we have set it to false. So what we can do, we can come down, let's select this error label box, and I would like to set the errors label text. Set the errors label text to error. Fine. And also I would like this error to be showed to the user. How can we do that? So we can change the visible property of this label box. Where can we find it? This is the one. So we need to change the visible property to true. Okay, else what should happen? Else, let's go on the top and come on this list section, and here I would like to select let's go with this one, but we cannot put it directly over here, like, right? Okay, so we cannot use it directly. Let's go back on this list section. Do we have something like insert at? I'm trying to find it out. Okay, this is the one. So let's make use of this one. So I would like that I would like to insert at the first point in this variable named cloud variable picture list the URL of the photograph. Fine. And then we can go down, and after that what else we need to do? We need to wait for some time. And where can we find the wait control? We can find it over here in this control section. So once we are done with saving the URL in this cloud variable picture list, I want this app to wait for 2 seconds before reflecting the photograph in the, or how we will, just a second, wait for 2 seconds. It is going to wait for 2 seconds. And after this, what should happen? We can call this display pics function, right? Because this is a function where we have defined all the codes which are going to set the image buttons pictures equal to the cloud variable picture list URLs. Fine. So the URL from here, okay, this media URL is going to get saved over here first in this cloud variable picture list, and after 2 seconds, this display pics function will be called, which will set the background of this image button 1 equal to the picture, the URL of which is saved in this picture list cloud variable. Okay, so that's what is going to happen with this code I have defined over here. Fine, hope you have very well understood this code. Let's now go back on this variable section and define one more variable. So now I would like to define it for just a second. So it should be for the picture URL, and then initially it is null. I'm assigning a null value to it. Okay, why I'm using this empty text component? It represents an empty string, because URL is not an integer, it is a kind of a string, right? So that is the reason we need to define a variable which can hold a string value. So that's how you can define a variable which can hold a string value. Fine. Now when let's come on this image button 1. So when the image button 1 will be clicked, I would like to set the value for this picture URL equal to what? Where is that code? Just a second. So we can get the URL easily from this part, right? This is going to give us the URL of the picture which is going to get reflected in the first image button. So we can save it inside this app variable picture URL like this. Similarly, and after this what should happen? I would like to redirect the user on this second screen, that is zoom. So let's make use of this navigate to URL, and I'm placing it over here, and let's change it to zoom. Fine. Same thing I would like to do with image button 2 also. So we can copy this whole code and paste it like this so as to create a duplicate, and let's make the required changes for button 2, and we need to change this to 2. Okay, rest everything is going to remain the same. Let's do the same thing for button 3, button 4 and button 5 also. Okay, done with defining the code for button 3. Let's do it for button 4 now. So currently this lecture is going on two different channels. One is Geeks for Geeks School and the second one is Gaurav Kumar Jain. Okay, so you guys can check out what this lecture on whatever channel you want to. So I'm done with defining the required code for the image buttons. Right, let's now go on this zoom screen, which is the second screen for this app. Now when the user comes on this screen, what I want to show him is, let's first select this zoom and let's make use of this block starts. So when this zoom screen will start, I would like to set the background image for this go back button I've defined on this zoom screen. So from where can I set the background picture? I think this is the code I can make use of. Set go back's background picture to. You know, the URL of the picture is going to get saved in this app variable picture URL. Just a second. App variable picture URL. So we need to fetch the URL from this variable, and whatever the URL will be, that picture, okay, is going to get reflected as a background image for this go back button. Now if you want to go back on this home screen, what you can do, you can click on this go back button and you will be redirected to this home screen. Right, okay, so I'm done with defining the required code. Let's now test this app whether it is going to give us the correct output or not. So for testing this app, we just have to hit this live test button and automatically this is the screen you're going to come across. Okay, so this is how our the app is going to look like on the mobile phone. Just a second, I think I'm on zoom screen. I need to come on this home screen first. Okay, let's hit this live test option again. So you know, when you will come on this page, when you access this, this is what you will get to see as an output. Fine, so already some of the students have taken their snapshots. Let me take mine now. So I'm going to hit this button. Let's see what is going to happen. So as you can see over here, the camera has got enabled. Okay, let me click it one more time. Okay, some error is getting reflected over here. I think it's just because I'm using this for the live streaming also. That is the reason it is not happening at present. Let me do it one more time. Let's see whether it is going to give us the correct output or not. But definitely this code is perfectly fine. If you'll try it at your end, it will give you the correct output. So you need to provide a media. Okay, you know, just because I'm using my camera for this live streaming purpose, that is the reason not able to click a photograph. But when you'll use it, definitely you will get to see you know, all your images over here. The way these boys' images are getting reflected at present over here, in the same way you will also get to see these images on your mobile on your respective devices. Right, now if you'll hit any of these images, what is going to happen? Let's check it out. So you will you're going to get redirected on this zoom screen where you will see this image getting reflected like this. Okay, and if you want to go back on the home screen, you can hit this screen and you will be redirected back on this page. Fine, so that's how this app works. Hope you guys enjoyed this one a lot. Do not forget to like and share this video in your groups. and let me show you guys the whole code that I've defined till now. So this is the whole code, fine, and this is for the home screen. Do try it out yourself, because until and unless you will practically experience this thing, you will not be able to understand the real concept of coding. Fine, and this is a code which I have used for this zoom screen. So there is only 2 blocks I've used over here. Fine, and remember to add these 2 components, these 2 invisible components also, if you really want your app to work. So that's it from my side. Hope you guys enjoyed this one a lot, and thank you very much. God bless you all, and stay safe, stay healthy. Bye bye.